So my favorite poem that I chose for this project is Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe. Poe is my favorite poet of all time, and I actually didn't really know any of his poems until after high school. We mostly just studied his short stories, but I was reading Lolita one summer, and it's by Vladimir Nabokov. It's really dark and strange and very controversial. It's about an older man who falls in love with a 12-year-old girl, but it's definitely one of my favorite books, and I think that one of the things that makes it such a work of art is that Nabokov actually incorporates Annabel Lee into the beginning of the book to make the plot, and I just think that's amazing. And it was Poe's his favorite poet, and Annabel Lee was Poe's last poem before he died. So I see it as kind of a tribute to Poe and everything that he created. One of my favorite quotes from Lolita actually comes partially from Annabel Lee. It incorporates it directly into the book, and it's, "All I want to stress is that my discovery of her was a fatal consequence of that prince doomed by the sea in my tortured past. Everything between the two events was but a series of gropings and blunders and false rudiments of joy." So, although I can't really relate the book to my life at all, the poem I definitely can. I think everyone can. And now I would like to read it to you. Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe. Annabel Lee. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. She was a child and I was a child in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee. With a love that the wingèd seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud by night, chilling my Annabel Lee, so that her highborn kinsmen came and bore her away from me to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels not half so happy in heaven when envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of a cloud, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we. And neither the angels in heaven above nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and the stars never rise but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so, all the night tide, I lay down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, and her sepulchre there by the sea, and her tomb by the sounding sea. So the poem is about two childhood lovers, and I believe that the imagery of the kingdom by the sea is a huge symbol for innocence, and the lovers, they have untainted love because they're so young, and of course their love is going to be greater than those that are older because they have no stressors in their lives, and the kingdom is this place that nobody can touch them. It's their youth and their innocence, and when Annabel dies, she's shut up in a sepulchre, and that kind of contrasts with the imagery of the kingdom, and the sepulchre is kind of growing up. So in Annabel Lee, the beautiful Annabel Lee, that's repeated over and over again throughout the poem, and Annabel Lee is the title of the poem, but the speaker never tells us anything about her, so we can just assume that she's a symbol, and I would say that her symbol would be innocence in itself. So when she dies, that's the death of innocence, and although the speaker, he'll never forget her, and he sees her everywhere in the stars and everything, he'll hold on to her memory, but he has to move on and grow up. So I think that's what Poe's trying to get across, was that we have innocence and untainted happiness, but then one day our innocence is going to die and we have to grow up and take on the responsibility of adulthood. And I think everybody can relate that to their lives. Growing up, I had a great childhood. I was so happy, so carefree. I had my own childhood lover, was my next door neighbor since I was 2, and one day he grew up and he had to move away, and now we're both adults. I'm in college, I'm a freshman, and I'm a bio major, an English minor. I'm pre-med, so grades, that's only one stressor of my life. I work full-time whenever I come home at a government research facility, and it just goes on and on. Once we reach that point in our lives, where Annabelle dies, and innocence and youth dies, we have to grow up. And I think everybody can relate that to their lives, and that's a big part of why Annabel Lee is my favorite poem.
Who the hell can see forever?